I don't like to get in these back and forths because, quite honestly, guys that you usually get into the back and forths with, they become back and forths because it's like one of them like severely tips something this way and the other just like kind of so far down that it kind of pulls you back a little bit. And so, speaking of Austin Rivers, I saw he said he's bewildered and it's ridiculous of what I said. And I just find it interesting that a guy who was the 10th pick in my draft, I was 35, who's on his second act, still on act 1, he goes, Draymond, never been a scorer. Austin, you and I averaged the same amount of points in high school. And I say high school because that's when you were at your best. And then in college, he was still good. He was very featured at Duke because NBA careers, should he really talk about my NBA career? I'm still with my first team. He was gone from his first team in 2 years. The guy received the biggest bailout in U.S. history prior to President Trump bailing out the airlines when his dad gave him $42 million. And I tip my hat to Doc. I pray that I can give DJ $200 million or give Deuce $250 million. I pray that I can do that one day. I love how people just go take the 15 seconds that they want to take and make it a headline, but I really enjoy watching Austin Rivers be bewildered.
Come on, Draymond. This is ridiculous. Seriously. Ridiculous, but you know what? I'm going to address it because you crossed the line and you are mad disrespectful for whatever reason. You've been around too long. We both were drafted in the same class. The fact that you don't have the wherewithal to do your due diligence and actually understand I was being highly complimentary of you on the Dan Patrick Show, but it's you, and I shouldn't be surprised. You always act irrationally, emotionally immature, and your anger always puts you in hot water. So here I am having to address a video of you belittling my career. First off, Draymond, we weren't the same players in high school. I don't care about our numbers being similar. I did it at the national level, the top level. Hence why I got the Naismith Award, and I got pretty much every award you could think of in high school. I was ranked number 1, you were ranked, I don't know. So cut it out. Next. College, you actually were a really good college basketball player, but it's hard to compare because I was only there for 6 months. Something you could never do. Talk about I was, one of the featured guys. No, I was the guy. I led my team in scoring. I was first team All-ACC, freshman player of the year, lottery pick. Stop. Next. The NBA, hey man, you got it, Dre. I mean, listen, I played in the NBA for more than 10 years, more than a decade, but 11 years, but I'm not a Hall of Famer like you. So I'll give you that credit. All right, you got it. But let's peel back that onion and understand why. Easy, Tiger. Okay? You have the delusion, the non-wherewithal, the irony of you saying I'm part of the biggest bailout in NBA history. Draymond, you are the luckiest basketball player I think I've ever seen, especially in modern day history. Let's talk about that. You were drafted to a franchise with the Hall of Fame front office, Bob Myers, Hall of Fame coach, Steve Kerr, the greatest shooter of all time, and perhaps the top 5 player of all time, Steph Curry, Hall of Famer. One of the greatest shooters, top 5 shooter of all time, another Hall of Famer, Klay Thompson. The Swiss Army knife himself, the guy who could do a little bit of everything on the floor, Andre Iguodala, another Hall of Famer. I know, keep up, it's a lot of talent. Not to mention one of the most lethal scorers of all time and arguably a top 10 player of all time, Kevin Durant, the same guy you chased off because of this, your mouth, you talk too much. And that's not even counting the plethora of talent around those guys. The Sean Livingstons, the Barbosas, the Andrew Wiggins, the Jordan Pooles, who you also chased off. Cut it out. Draymond, you're the backpack jump shooter. You're the guy that everyone leaves open. No one guards you. There are hours and hours and hours of film of just you being left wide open. In fact, anybody can just YouTube or Google or watch any Draymond game ever, and he's open all game. There are clips of you getting a rebound and just driving in a straight line and just getting a wide open layup because everyone's fanning out to guard the actual talent on the team. Talking about Steve Kerr hindered your career. Bro, Steve Kerr made your career. How dare you? Coming at me? Are you kidding me? I wish I could give my son $200 million if I was a coach. Yo, the NBA doesn't give coaching jobs to guys who may or may not sucker punch one of the players and staff. You need to fall back, Dre. Let's just be frenemies.
Draymond just said Steph Curry, the greatest shooter in NBA history, hindered him. Not helped him, not limited him, hindered him. And the internet has not recovered since. Austin Rivers heard that and practically lost his entire mind on Twitter. Draymond fired back immediately, and now we've got a full-blown war breaking out between guys who aren't even in the playoffs right now. One word, one single word blew the entire NBA offseason up. And the craziest part, Draymond might not even be wrong, but he's also not entirely right either. Let's break it down. Had to pull up because the NBA discourse is heating up and it got nothing to do with playoff basketball this time. And that's what makes this whole situation so wild. We're talking about guys not even suiting up right now, going at each other's throats. Check the link in the description because I dropped the full clip from Draymond Green's podcast where he laid out exactly how he felt about what Austin Rivers said. Then Austin Rivers caught feelings real quick, like we all knew he would, and Twitter turned into an absolute war zone. And listen, I gotta set the table here because this whole thing started with Dan Patrick and Austin Rivers reacting to something specific Draymond said. It all comes down to one word, and that word is hindered. Hold up, because the moment Draymond said Steph Curry hindered his development and never drew up plays to get him going offensively in Golden State, the internet lost its mind. Some people heard that and said, yeah, Draymond's entitled to his truth, let the man speak his feelings. But that word, hindered, that's the one that lit the fuse, and that's exactly what Austin Rivers zeroed in on. Austin was basically like, nah, there's no way he really said that, but he did give Draymond his respect as a player. But you already knew Draymond wasn't about to let that slide without firing back directly. And the second you bring up Austin Rivers' dad coaching him and handing him that bag when he was in Golden State, it's over. Austin has to respond every single time. Girl, he had to get his lick back, and honestly, I respect it. But I gotta keep it completely real with Austin. That nepotism angle is always gonna follow you no matter where you go in this league. Other players will go straight to that card the moment you say something they don't like, just like we saw with Glenn Big Baby Davis when he had his own issues and that same move got pulled. That's just the reality of the NBA. When your father coached you, it becomes your permanent shadow. Now look, I personally get where Draymond's coming from because honestly, if I were a coach, I'd want my kid on my roster too. But Austin flipped the switch and basically said, you crossed the line, so now I'm coming for you with everything. And I'll give credit where it's absolutely due. Draymond Green's role on those Warriors championship teams was critical, borderline irreplaceable. A Hall of Fame resume, no question about it. But using the word hindered and pointing the finger at Steph Curry for it, that's a whole different conversation. Look, even if you only give Steve Kerr partial credit for what he built, the word hinder is about to sound absolutely unhinged in this context. Just trust me on that. It is what it is, but let's talk Golden State because that's exactly the organization Draymond Green was drafted into. He came in, locked into his role, and executed that assignment with zero complaints. Hold up, because yes, he absolutely did knock down some clutch shots at critical moments throughout his run. Don't let anybody gaslight you on that. Now, the comparisons between him and Robert Horry started floating around, and people jumped on that narrative quick. The argument was that Robert Horry never had plays designed specifically for him. And listen, that part is factually accurate. But Horry's entire mindset was locked in on one thing: get the ball, shoot the ball, and make something happen when it counts. Girl, none of those massive, iconic shots Horry ever hit were drawn up in a timeout huddle. He just read the moment and delivered. Draymond, on the other hand, accepted a defined, structured role within the system. No debate there.
And they did run certain offensive sets through him at various points throughout his career, which people conveniently forget. But here's the thing, Draymond is always going to be haunted by this specific double-edged narrative. They're going to pull up the footage of every single moment he could have been more aggressive offensively and didn't pull that trigger. And then, when Steph and Klay went down hurt, the critics lined up to say he didn't rise up and carry the load like a superstar would. So it becomes this impossible situation where he gets criticized coming and going. But at the end of the day, 4 rings don't lie. Whatever the dynamic was between him and KD, that chapter is written and closed. But Draymond agreed he is absolutely the kind of guy who's going to get under your skin and stay there. He's going to irritate people, he's going to spark controversy, and he genuinely does not care one single bit. And honestly, I'm completely here for every second of it, no apologies. Because this energy brings sports culture back into the mainstream conversation in a real way. It brings the entertainment factor that keeps people glued to their screens and coming back for more. And it brings what I'm calling the capital C collection. Controversy, chaos, confusion, conflict, and confrontation all crashing into the same room at the same time. That's exactly what keeps the algorithm fed and the conversation alive. We are fully dialed into this energy and riding it out to the end. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Tell me where you stand on Draymond's legacy. And stay locked in because we've got way more videos and content coming your way.